Okay.
Welcome to Drink the Kool-Aid with Rob McNeil.
I'm Rob McNeil, and that's Lowell-George.
I'm Lowell-George.
And you guys are losers.
Nerds. Today we have a topic that it came up, I think, in an argument, and then we actually thought it was such a good idea we decided to do an episode about
Pick
it.
your favorite style.
Oh, you want to keep that on?
I'm going to.
Rad.
Dude, I got this. We got a little fun. What up, son?
Yeah.
We got a toy today.
Yeah.
So, let's hang that tough there.
All right.
Our episode today is about how nobody cares about men's feelings. I think we're both qualified to speak on behalf of men.
We can actually
Yeah.
talk about this, and people will. Well, they don't have to listen, but we know.
Well, it's just an interesting point. It's an interesting concept just from the,
Pick your favorite style.
all right, well, I thought this was going to be fun. It's no longer fun.
Still going. All right.
So, I mean, like, growing up as a dude, pretty manly dude, men were not, growing up, you were just kind of like, especially in the 80s, right? Like, you just weren't encouraged to show your feelings. There's always said, like, butch up or man up or grow a pair.
Quit acting like a girl.
Grow a pair, that's another one.
Stop. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like...
I was called Roberta.
So, like, what was your experience with this as a kid? Like just like the earliest experience you can remember, kind of, and then it'll kind of go from there, and we'll just kind of shoot it up till we grown up times.
The kid that lived across the street was probably 5 or 6 years older than me, and I remember him just kicking my ass constantly, and I remember, like, just hitting this point in time where I was, like, telling myself, just don't cry when he beats you up anymore. Just be like, that didn't hurt, and, like, that's kind of...
Who told you this?
That was my own idea.
Oh, that's your idea, okay.
Yeah, my dad was constantly at work.
How old were you?
Oh, probably like 8, 9, and this kid was in his teens.
So a grown man by Alaskan standards.
Yeah. Wait, me or the teenage kid?
Kid, like 9, you're getting a job.
All right, yeah, I should have had one by then. I wasn't pulling my weight, though. I was a little fat kid. But yeah, getting beat up, though, and that was, like, my first experience, because, like, getting beat up and then, like, crying about it, of course, his younger brother, and, like...
I remember my first good beating.
Yeah. Like, if the other kids around the block would be like, oh, man, quit crying, like, you just totally almost broke your arm, but grow up,
Grow up.
Yeah. So what about you, man? When did you first realize that nobody really cares about your feelings?
Well,
I mean, not to say that they
I
don't
perceived
now.
it from the outside. That's the difference, I think, is like my parents. It's just weird because, like, my experience with this is so weird. Like, my mom was the one that was like that, more so than my father.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, where she was instilling these, basically tired old stereotypes of, like, how, genders are supposed to behave. Like, binary genders are supposed to behave. It's like cultures, like, what you're watching on TV does it to you a little bit. Things that you're fed, stories imparted, even, like, some of the most, like, basic childhood stories are kind of, men are supposed to be tough and heroic, and we're supposed to, do all this other stuff. And then, like, so it's kind of just sneaking in and all around, all the edges. But my dad wasn't the one that ever did that. One of the saddest things I've ever seen was watching my father cry. Because he does. Like, he's a very emotional being, so he expresses his emotions. Sometimes he can get really curmudgeon-y, but then the swing he can be the most lovey dude on earth, the most warmest person you'd ever meet. And he can also be a living legend nightmare. Like, he can go to that place and has, being a veteran and just a like the stand-up tough guy. Like not the tough guy that's like the oppressive, nasty tough guy. Like the tough guy that stands up for the little guy tough guy. You know, like
He's assertive.
yeah, he's you know he's the end of the line.
Your dad's a leader.
A leader.
Your dad's a good leader. That's what you're saying.
Yes, he is. But it's just he was just. I mean, like I didn't get it from him, and you know him being my chief role model for how men are supposed to behave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I saw through his bullshit like early on. I was a pretty smart kid, and I saw through that. You know, as far as like my mind matured faster than a lot of my peers. You know, just as far as like realizing what real life was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not in a bad way. Like it wasn't I was abused or anything like that, but you know, living where I lived, I guess I saw the dark side of life as well as the light. You know, just kind of like grew up with it. But I always tried to be, you know, better than the examples I set for myself. Like, that was really something I tried to do. Now, if I have not completely succeeded in this, I do have character failings, I'm sure. But it's just like, I'm always constantly trying to dial back my ego and, you know, which is another reason that I don't really buy into the whole, you know, what men are supposed to be. And the reason that I thought this was such an interesting topic, because I don't buy into it at all.
Not at all?
You know, it's an old stereotype from a society that doesn't really exist, at least in this, you know, part of the world anymore.
You don't think, though, that, like, inherently as men, that, like, do you have the inherent desire to be a protector and to go hunting and do all that stuff? Or do you feel like that's all taught?
No. See, I think that there is a biological kind of reckoning, you know, like basically checking the, you know, the sword against the iron kind of jam. But it's like biologically, I think we're programmed to do certain things. But I don't think that we're all just generally programmed one way as men. I'm not sure inherent behaviors, you know, like being more aggressive. You know, just as far as just general aggression, being more aggressive, you know, than say like women. To a degree, but I mean it's a different role, and I think biologically there are some things that we're programmed to do with 1,000 variations, but you know the vast majority of us, and it's just, do you give into that, or do you, because this ethos of things that they're just, you know, that behavior that we're talking about, you know, that's that men are expected to be, is kind of asserted early on like that. I feel like it reinforces a biological prime directive, and it's reinforcing that I just think I think, you know, people should just be people and not really, you know, they should be allowed to be themselves, provided themselves is not a butthole.
Yeah.
Not have like someone influencing like how they're supposed to act, because there's gonna be dudes, there's flight or fighters, dude, like you either fly or you fight, you know, like, and that's just it. But there's little bits of that in everything you do, if that's the kind of person you are. Mm-hmm. If you're a person that runs away from stuff, that's your natural inclination. You know, you can still be, just because that's you can't control your natural inclination. Like, if you're scared, you see something life-threatening just jump up in front of you, you're going to have one of two reactions. You're either going to run at it or you're going to run away from it. But that does not...
There's a third one. That people freeze also.
Freeze, yeah. Okay, so let's just deal with the two for now. This is gonna get like treed off, and I'm gonna lose track of where we are.
Go ahead.
So it's just like you gotta man, it's just tough to explain because it's so like just, you know, personal. It's such a personal, like this experience is gonna be personal for everyone. But I just really feel like we gotta like overcome that, you know what I mean? Like, but even if you fly, say if you're a runner naturally, the more like it's really heroic if you can resist that urge, or maybe you dart for a second and you come right back, because then you are actually going against your natural inclination to do the better thing. You know what I mean? It depending on the scenario.
Well, it's funny you should use the word resist the inclination to do these things, because I think as a society we've demonized masculinity quite a lot. And what we need instead of a resistance to our nature is to develop a relationship and live in that dichotomy. We need to reason with that nature as opposed to resist it. Because to me, masculinity isn't this toxic thing. I don't believe in that. I don't believe.
Oh, I've seen it reach toxic levels. Like I've seen people just lean into it way too hard, and get. I have an example today. I have a fresh example of this.
Cool. We'll get to that in a second. But there is a difference between masculinity and being an aggressive prick. You know, there's a huge difference.
But what if you want to be an aggressive prick on the inside, but you're forcibly making yourself not be?
How do you mean?
I have this drive inside, this very intense drive, that when I see something that I think is really inconsiderate to others, I have this insane impulse to just jump in. You know, and it's a fiery drive. I've tempered that by, there's a thought process. It's almost like a checklist that I have to go through before I can and this happens in like less than a second, this checklist, but there's just things that I look for, whether I should jump in or not. You know, like that's just my natural inclination is just get involved.
So you've turned it into something positive, though. You're doing that thing that I was talking about, is recognizing your inclination and then reasoning with it. That's a very masculine trait.
I just think, I don't think it's a masculine trait. I just think it's a trait of a good human being.
Well, I do though. I think it is.
Not that I'm good.
I think you're okay.
I'm okay.
I think no, you're a good dude. I think though it kind of goes back to the yin and the yang, because I think we're all masculine and feminine, male and female, trans, whatever, however you identify across the board. We're all masculine and feminine beings, you know. And it's to what degree do we embrace?
What's the balance that you strike with that? Is what I think what you're trying to say is
exactly.
There's a spectrum. Where do you fall into it, and just being okay with where you fall into it, and not letting doing what you think is right. But also being open to the fact that you might not be.
Right.
I don't try to. If someone tells me I'm doing something wrong, like example, a friend of mine got really mad at me and told me that that I had been razzing him, or I would dig in with him. He felt like I was singling him out and just being a dick to him, so being a prick, which I appreciate his forwardness, because if he had tried to sugarcoat that and beat around the bush, it might have taken too long. I like just
maybe falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm like, well, just tell me, what did I do? Just let me lay it out for me.
Be direct. Yeah.
And he did, and I kind of noticed it. Yeah, I tend to, but I never saw it as a negative thing. I just thought that's like we were being jovial.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize I was, actually hurting his feelings and getting a little too cutting with this razor tongue of mine. And I told him, okay, I'm like, I will consciously try my best to not do that anymore. If I do, just tell me. Like, hey, you're doing that thing. And I'll be like, shit, dude, sorry. So I can, it helps me, you're helping me recognize it, but I'm consciously trying to not do it at the same time. You get into a natural rhythm, and you'll be a better person, and your relationship with that person is better. It's the balance.
That's like masculinity coming into its wholeness more as you age and mature. You recognize that thinking about what you're going to say and how you're going to handle situations, and when we're young, like especially as males,
fiery,
it's like, I'll burn every bridge, man, I don't care. F that guy, F that lady.
You're a believer. You're a true believer.
Yeah.
Young dudes, say 17 to 25 are believers.
Self-righteous believers.
Self-righteous, and hot-tempered believers.
They will pull the strings until they.
Yeah, they just light the fuses and watch it burn, dude. I remember that Lowell. I remember that guy.
I remember that Rob rationalizing everything until I self-fulfilled those prophecies. I told you that guy was out to get me, and this is how, in some abstract way that makes no sense.
I was so determined there was no stopping me, but there was also consequences for that kind of tunnel vision in life.
So maybe a little bit of that is nature and a little bit of that is nurture, Like maybe it's not all like nobody cares about your feelings and you're pushed into that.
Well, a very good friend of mine, I'm not going to name drop here, but kind of, I had a couple of good examples. I am not, the way I am today and the things that I try to do and the way I try to live my life, it's been tempered over time through experience. You see the world through the lens of your own experience. That's, and I've had a couple good examples. A good friend of mine kind of tend to strike a balance because he was not your average tough guy. He was not your average dude. He was very sensitive, but he was still masculine in his own way. He had natural charisma, let's call that. So people would gather around him. It was cool because we both were like that. We both had this natural charisma that people would like flock around us. And but we were friends because our individual charismas did not affect each other. Both these dudes that were, had a similar drive, and so when we met each other, we were essentially competitors. And the shit little kings of a shit little town of a shit little hill. But but fuck nowhere, Alaska.
That was beautiful. I love how you did that. That was poetry.
But we saw each other as equals to a degree. So like there was this, that when you really truly on every level see someone as an equal, there's a bond that happens, and it could be remote. But he's always had this really chill balance. He found a chill balance between femininity and masculinity, and I've never quite got there. I still tend to skew very masculine, because I've just kind of embraced who I am, like deep down. This is who I am, and I'm just like, well, I can't get to where he is because I can't be him. But I got to a happy place. But he helped pull me back in that direction a little bit, just through like his actions. He never preached to me or pontificated anything. He was just, you saw him, you're like, he's got shit together. I should try to. The man's a titan. He's a titan. So someone to aspire to be. You know what I mean? He's just a cool dude. But that helped me, because I had this very tough guy father, superhero style legend, right? Just a legend, and living in the shadow of that, it actually was not a bad thing, dude. It gave me showed me how big the shoes were I needed to fill, and I tried to come out better than him, because I could see, there's a funny thing that happens. I think 25 is when dudes really start to become better people, especially super masculine dudes, crazy, maybe even veering into toxic, crazy toxic masculinity.
If it's a thing.
Where it's just fuming testosterone spraying over everything, and you just want to fight or bang everything in sight, and
you don't think it's possible we're conflating masculinity with aggression and bully behavior, though? Because I think that's
true, I think that boils back to nature. I think when you're born,
I think it boils back to nurture. But I want to hear your point first.
I just think that nurture has something to do with it, because little scars when you're a child turn into big scars when you're an adult.
Well, we were talking about earlier when I was talking about the bullies, and it's when I realized when people were giving me that negative attention for crying, as opposed to, I feel like now it would be different. I feel like now if my kid got beat up and he was crying, I wouldn't be knock it off. I would be like, come here, man, give me a hug, let's talk about it. We'd figure out what to do from there. But, if you're not being pushed into that quit crying behavior as a young child, do you morph into this aggressive bully ass guy butthole?
I think that's a whole nother podcast and a whole nother deep dive on psychology, because childhood events affecting the psychology of the adult, we could go on for crazy amounts of that.
But the topic is, nobody really cares that much about men's feelings. So I mean, where does that come from though? Because I would say for me it started at a young age. And it affects me today. It affected me today. Something messed up happened, and I had to just kind of go.
Let's hit that later, because I had something happen to me today. Same thing. It's just shit.
Great.
That's crazy.
Let's get
two
into
times,
it.
two things happened today.
But you were saying it was nurture though, or nature.
I think it's both. Why can't it be both? You know what I mean? You're gonna have natural inclinations just at a genetic level. There's what is instinctual memory.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the way you're configured when you're born is a partial determiner of what you become. I made that word up, by the way. Determiner. That's mine. Trademark.
All right. Nobody's fighting you for it, dude. It's a good word, though.
Like, I think they both play that, but then there's obviously things that happen to you when you're young that make a mark on you and change your direction and maybe change the way that your natural inclination will go, because I think it really just boils down to survival. Your body and your mind and your genetic code are just trying to survive. So they're going to try and move and wiggle and grow and expand and evolve to, like, try to compensate for these natural inclinations, but the outside world affecting that. I think that the outside world affects those natural inclinations, and then you tend to grow into it. And say you come from somebody like people that have lived in the same area, for 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
You come being born into that. You are genetically better for that environment than, say, someone coming in from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's both. Experience, trauma, affects that. But what you do with that in adulthood,
that's a choice.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
You can, if you want to curb it, I just think at 25, you realize, at least that I realized at 25, that my parents are just people. They're not these things that you raise them up on pedestals when you're young. They are not that way. And I had that early. Like, it really cemented in 25, but I started feeling that way about 15, where I just started knowing my parents are people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's good things about them, and then there's bad things about them, and then, there's some super bad things about them. Nothing like nefarious, but like just personality flaws, right? That helped me recognize those in me. Like, I could see where I had some of those tendencies. Like, my mother has at least for a long time, probably still does, like, has a tendency to throw things when she's really mad. And this is my whole life. I cannot tell you how good I am at dodging something or catching it. Like, because I felt like I was trained from a very young age to dodge stuff. Like, when portable phones became a thing, we used to have to get like one a month, one every 2 months. She would throw it or drop it in the bathtub or something. But that kind of stuff. But like I said, the influence of this for me seemed conventionally backwards. Where my mom really had this vision for who she wanted me to be that was not who I was. My dad tried to instill good principles in me, but he let me be who I was.
So your mom would,
She's trying to change me all the time.
She had these projections.
Yeah. Oh, very, very lofty projections. Because I was a very bright kid. Cognitive abilities. I was very, I was good at painting, and I was, I could, like, anything I put my mind to, I would just latch into, and I had this determination and drive that I still have to this very day. Like, there's something in me that makes me go longer than I should. Makes me pull through stuff, and come out the other side better and make whatever I'm working on better. Mm-hmm. But if I could be put under pressure and I just rise to the challenge, because it's like I was just born that way, My mom is very, very bright as well. But she was she is her vision of me is not who I am. My father, though, he just tried to instill, and he didn't always do it good, he screwed up a lot, but he'd always cop to it. You know what I mean? Like, be like, dude, I sorry, I got way too pissed. Or like, he's a sensitive guy, and sometimes you just, when there's dudes that are emotionally sensitive, you gotta ride that roller coaster sometimes, because it'll swing, just like anybody, they're human beings. I noticed in me too, I noticed that wave, where I can get really, really happy, or I can get really, really pissy. But, I just try to land in the middle somewhere. But sometimes, to regulate that wave, see, you gotta let it go, swing the full pendulum, because if you restrict it, it'll have a tendency to swing into a place and stay there. And most of the time it's not happy, it's like pissed off. If you just let your emotions run amok, and you just, for me, if I just let them run amok, So you do sacrifice a little bit of that serene happiness because of the mood swing, because you're keeping it down. You like, you gotta say, like, I'm super happy about this, but I gotta be real. You know, but I do blow it off every once in a while. Like I'll get way too merry for the room. I'll get drunk, just a little too drunk, and get really loud and have a great time and adventure and wander about. You know, you gotta blow the pressure valve off, and I think that's the main problem with stuff like toxic masculinity. You know, but like that's an extreme. You know what I mean? Especially for just a dude. You know, regular dudes, like, you know, just me, my perception of it is toxic masculinity exists, but it's a very extreme thing. It's not it's like a small percentage making the rest of us look bad.
I disagree. I don't think it does exist. I think it's people who understand a boundary and they're taking it too far, and it reverts back to aggressive bully behavior. And I don't think it's fair to call that a male trait.
Oh no, God no! There's bullies of all kinds, shapes and sizes. Bullies of all shapes and sizes. I agree with that. I agree with your point there. So basically, what it sounds like to me is toxic masculinity. There's a toxic femininity, maybe version of it. You know,
but I don't see a reason to gender it or to.
I don't. Yeah, you know what? You've convinced me. This is like. Yeah, I think it veers out of like that kind of behavior.
I mean, if when you see those, I shouldn't be laughing. This is horrible, but when you see those batshit crazy moms on the news and they've drowned their children in the bathtub, is that toxic masculinity? Because if a man did it, I feel like that would instantly be labeled. Like,
I don't think it would be. I think that would just be bad parenting.
Or maybe it would. What if those kids were vampires? I don't know, man. Like, what if they were bad kids?
So basically, what we're saying is that these toxic masculine behaviors the behaviors that are associated with that are not actually toxic masculinity, just
bad behaviors, bad human behaviors.
Bad behaviors of bad people.
Men and women are both capable of an equal amount
everyone
of
is okay.
right?
I think everyone has an equal ability for good and evil. If we want to get really, you know, they have an equal like reservoir that if they had to.
You're morally flexible, right? You can tell me how good and evil transcend. But
it's all gray area, bro. It's all gray area.
Another topic for another day. That'd be a
moral flexibility. Yeah,
we should do that.
We should. That's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
So it's just bad behavior, but not. It's bad behavior, not toxic masculinity. That's what it should be defined as.
Right.
And it is not. It's not gender specific.
Yeah.
Okay. No, these are both points that I can wholeheartedly agree with you with. Like, I think those are good points. That's good. So, one thing that we talked about before the podcast, we didn't tell each other this, but experiences with toxic bad behavior.
Yeah.
That we partook of today. So do you want to start off with your experience today?
Toxic bad behavior comes from my wife, Kat McNeil. That's her name. She's on Facebook.
And she's currently not here.
Yeah. So her friends, the Nazi party, like to go do things, but I'm not invited. Sorry, did I say the Nazi party? Their real names are the Fat Nazi Party. So...
Are they? Well, let's unwrap this.
I just want to be angry.
Let's unwrap this package. What was there an incident perhaps that that triggered this behavior?
Probably shouldn't talk about it too much on this.
So no, well, that's fine. That's fine. There was an incident.
Nothing that the last conversation I had with said Nazi party. That's not their real names. No, my wife's not camping with our kids with the Nazi party. That's what I'm calling her friends, because that's how I feel about them. Just so you guys know. But there was nothing like too severe except for when one of these people threatened to hit me and knock me out, and I engaged in that toxic masculinity, and I said, okay, please do that, because I'm not cool.
That boils down to fight or flight, bro.
Oh no, I got in his face, man.
Yeah.
But he backed down, and which was weird because he's like a huge dude. He's like 6'4". So I was like, why are
Hey,
you
big dudes
afraid?
can be scaredy cats too, man. You know what I mean?
Well, he was probably using his size to posture, not thinking
It's-
that like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll fight you, man. Like
when two
don't
bulls
talk-
approach each other and they're like the same size,
yeah.
and they decide, they're like, oh, dude, you like, hey man, get out my face, and he's just like, oh, I'm a big bull, blah blah blah. But when it comes
Yeah.
down to actual fighting, when one dude like comes in to engage, and the other bull is like takes off. You know, like chest puffing's one thing. Actually,
Yeah.
stepping over that line is a whole nother thing entirely.
Oh yeah, no, I had it all planned out in my head.
Did you do it like Sherlock Holmes style, where you're like, deflate the lungs,
No, it was
block wild right cross?
I walked right at him. I walked right at him, and I was gonna throw him into a hip
Crack
cross, and
peanut.
I was gonna land him into a rear naked, and I was gonna choke him. Like I was just ready to take down a huge.
Should have took him for the Saturday Night Ride. If any of you guys wrestled, you remember that.
I
one.
might have given him a few shove kicks back first, but then I was gonna take him down to the ground, and I was gonna have my way with him. Yeah, that's right. That's what would have happened. But no, he got scared, and that was kind of our last interaction. After that, we kind of talked about it, and I thought we were okay. And, he led me to believe that everything was cool, we were kosher, like we exchanged apologies for the words, things never escalated to a point of violence. But yeah, he kind of put me under the impression that, like, yeah, things can be copacetic and we'll be okay.
Liar!
Yeah, exactly.
Liar!
Yeah, you're a liar. You're a Nazi liar. And you know what? I don't usually say I hope somebody gets AIDS, but I hope he gets an exotic form of it.
Like space
that
AIDS.
Also gives him constant gas for the rest of his life or some weird thing like that. Hope that happens.
So
Maybe not. No, I don't actually wish that on anybody, but
oh, then now he backpedals.
I can't say it if I don't mean it. I don't really want that.
Okay, so let's just rewind just a second.
Sure.
Okay, so he's in your face. He's gonna kick your ass. Okay.
No, he was like backing up while he said he was
No,
gonna
but
knock
he
me
had
out.
stood up, puffed his chest, and declared that. Did he say that if you don't knock it off, I'm gonna kick your ass? Or if what was the give me the 5 minutes before that? Vague, you can be vague with the details, but the interaction 5 minutes before that.
So he had been at this concert called Cali Roots. It's like a festival kind of thing.
Okay. I've heard of it. I just never been.
Big old reggae festival, and this is a reggae household.
Mm,
But I also
that's for certain.
I don't believe that.
I mean, he's got a beanie on. It's like 90 out.
Yeah, man. Keeps my hair
Anything
looking
for
okay.
style.
Dude, my hair looks so bad today.
My hair looks amazing as usual.
It does. I noticed that. I was like, oh, you got the wave going. Looks great. But yeah. So he was there, and I was watching his dog.
Kick that's ass. You know what I mean? All right, masculinity right here, buddy.
Yeah, I can't do that. I don't have the masculine facial hair. I have like.
It's a blessing. It's my third best gift.
I would almost say my facial hair is feminine. Like it's pretty bad.
It's my third greatest gift in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the first two?
Oh yeah, that's a real quick one. The first one would be that drive that I was born with. That was a gift.
Yeah.
The determination and focus to just pretty much, do what I want. Second is I can fall asleep anywhere,
Oh, nice.
anytime. Sleeping, not a huge issue for me. Ever since I kind of got like surgery and that was like reconstructive for the leg kind of stuff, it became a partial. I have to have a better bed or sleep a certain way now, but I still can fall asleep anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And then the third is the beard.
Yeah. Cool.
My dad is like the most hairless dude you will ever see too. No chest hair, no arm hair, nothing.
I don't have the.
His beard is like very like just like right here. Well, it's kind of. I mean, I think his face shrunk.
Sometimes my wife calls me Patches.
Patches
because,
Magoo.
Like, yeah,
that's what I call
like
him.
a patch of chest hair there and like there.
It ain't another thing. I just like having a beard. This is my quarantine beard. I shaved completely clean at the beginning of quarantine, and this is where we ended up. No, it's so thick and stuff, dude. It's like 5 o'clock shadow man. Like 10 minutes after I shave.
Nice.
It's just because my hair is black, so it's just immediately see it.
Cool. Oh yeah. So I was watching this dude's dog.
5 minutes before.
I was watching this dude's dog.
Watching the
Yeah.
the canine. Gotcha.
While he was at the thing and.
Doing him a favor, yo.
He was like, "Hey, will you look for me while I'm on TV?" Because they live stream it the whole time from like YouTube.
Yep.
And so I sent him a text and I was like, "Yeah, I saw you, man. This dude was standing there like this." So I was like, "Dude, you're on TV," and he was like, "Cool," and I was like, "Your mouth is open," you know.
Yeah.
Like that pissed him off, dude. This dude's like standing there, like staring at the sun, like he's trying to figure shit out. It's just like, so like, man, something bad's gonna fly in there. Like you're a big target, so
Yes.
you better shut that thing, close that monster before somebody gets at you. You know, but he didn't think that was funny.
What?
I know, right?
I just been like, screw you, Rob. Click. Yeah, whatever. And I just like,
You know what I would say? You know what I would say if somebody was like, you were on TV and your mouth was open? You know what I would say? I better close my mouth in the future if I'm going to be on TV.
or just be who you are.
Yeah, but if I'm
Dude,
just,
I would love to be at a concert right now, mouth agape at some killer band doing their thing.
some slack-jawed dude, though.
Okay, so this is way before that, I'm assuming.
No, that was like the conversation we had on when he was on his way up, and I think it was
Where did the altercation happen?
outside of my house.
Oh, did he
That
come
way.
here to like pick up his dog?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Did he have anyone with him, or was it just?
His wife.
Yeah, okay, that explains a lot. Kids get way more chest puffy around their wives than they would normally.
I mean, that guy shouldn't.
I don't, because you mess with my wife, you get to deal with that. Like,
There is a
she
degree,
will mess you up, dude.
There's a degree where like if my wife starts some shit, I might just be like, you did that. You know, like I'm not gonna be that guy who's like, I'll stand by you no matter what. I'm like, no, you're acting that way, and you expect me to like, if somebody's gonna attack her, it's different. But if it's like,
Yeah, someone gets
she's
mouthy,
yelling,
like you deal with that
like,
yourself.
all right,
Yeah,
have fun.
because I don't
Cat's usually so non-confrontational, though.
I have. My wife is not.
She's very direct, I've noticed.
Yeah, it's very like she's like some people get like this really ho hum vibe from her sometimes, or they think that she doesn't like you because she does not like she's like the most smiley person. She gets that whole toxic bad behavior thing of like people were always like when she was a kid and when we were younger, they're like smile. Give me a smile.
Oh, that's annoying.
That's annoying. That's bad behavior. And someone says, "Give me a smile," I might hit you. Like there's a powerful drive in me to be like, just pop you in the teeth, dude. Like, want to smile? Here you go.
What if another full-grown man starts saying, "Don't smile, lol. Don't smile."
That's not nearly. That wouldn't.
That doesn't bother
That
you.
does
as
not
much?
trigger me.
It doesn't make you smile.
Mm-mm.
That makes me smile every time. Dude.
No, it's
Somebody says, "Don't smile." I'm like,
But that's been my experience. Is like,
yeah.
like it's a little different in my house. But I had a experience today as well.
Yeah.
Not direct. This was not directly slight to me. It's an observation. I had 2 observational experiences.
Let's hear it, man. It is your turn. That is the end of my story. I'm really upset my wife and kids are out without me, and I'm not invited.
Some chest puffy Nazi dude.
Yeah. I did not see that coming.
Well, I shouldn't have high-fived you. I regret everything.
Regrets. What was your story?
Oh, no. Okay, so I am sitting. My truck needed fluid change and all that stuff, so I took it to Jiffy Lube.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys know me at Jiffy Lube. I try to take my car there all the time, and my wife does too. And they're great. They get you in and out, and you're just like, it's like bing, bang, boom, you're done.
They always have coupons online.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I am aware. Yeah, I get them in the mail sometimes too.
I'm about it, man.
Yeah, I'm about them coupons. I mean, I got all the I got all the fluids changed for like $140.
Word, cool.
Yeah, that's a good deal, and they get it in like an hour. But I'm sitting there, and you gotta wait in line Jiffy Lube, and guy comes out, and I know him, and he's like, "Cool." I'm like, "Yeah, just once you get all the numbers ran, I'll just give you my keys, and I'll bounce, and you guys can take care of it, and just call me when it's done." And so I needed some water, so I walked down to this Quickie Mart. This is right down the street.
Mm-hmm.
But before I went ahead of myself. But I'm sitting in my truck waiting for these guys, and this man comes walking down the hill, because there's this hill, and he comes walking down, and I start to see him, because you see parts of him, you see like the front part of him before you see the rest of him. And he's coming down, and then I see, okay, so this dude is this big old white boy, and he's coming down, and he's got no shirt on. He's a big guy. Like, I'm a big guy, but this guy's like a big guy, like big. And he's wearing sweatpants and Hanes briefs. I don't want to describe how I could see like what brand of underwear he's wearing. He got way too close.
I would like to hear.
He's wearing Fruit of the Loom.
Yes.
But his pants were like all the way down. They were like barely hanging on for life.
Oh dear.
And he's a tough guy, just chest puffed, arms back, wide, like a flamingo, you know.
The word,
A
man.
flamingo ain't no laws here,
Did
you
he
know,
have a
like
gold chain?
no.
Damn it.
But he had like a flat top, blonde kid, flat top, like crew cut, kind of like real tight shave. Just douche. And he comes walking down, and he comes right down to Highway 90, and he's just like right at the street corner. And I could see the white power tattoos all over him.
Ah.
And I couldn't hear
Lame.
I couldn't hear what he said, but somebody like mouthed off to him, like people were screaming at him in the intersection, just
He
like
probably said, "I'm gonna go camping with Rob's wife and kids."
that's maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know this dude.
Sorry.
I don't know this guy. This might be the same guy.
Probably.
So he's like, "Fuck you," and screaming at everyone, and like, "I'll kick your ass! Come on over here!" And he drops some racial slurs that I would just rather not say.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, he and then he just goes storming back up the hill, like, you know, because he came down and he's like, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, "This is a bunch of trouble you don't want, buddy." You know, like, like, dude, I'm a world of hurt for you, because I don't like you, and you're loud, and because I made eye contact with him, and of course he just comes right strolling over my truck. I was like, "Shoot, move on." Same thing. He gets real aggressive until someone like says, like, "It's okay. Let's do this." You know what I mean? You want to be that way? And so he storms back up the hill, just hulked out, Hulkmania style. I'm okay. So I give the guys my keys, and I'm walking down Quickie Mart, and I go in, and got some very poshy water. I got some Smart Water, you know, one of the big ones. I didn't get it because of Smart Water. I like the bottle. It's like the long bottle with the screw top.
I like the long bottle too. Have you ever had Core Water? That's good stuff.
I don't like the top.
It's because you're a loser. Yeah.
Anyways, I like sometimes I'd get like, you know, Smart Water. What's the other one that's like that? It's the big tube with the screw top. Smart Water.
There, you said Smart Water.
Smart Water, and
There's Armor Water. That stuff's pretty cool. I guess it's.
I don't know. It's like the stuff with the minerals and the electrolytes because it was super hot out. And
Fiji.
yeah, that was
Fiji.
square. It was a square bottle. No, I can't remember what it is.
Fiji is a square bottle.
No, it wasn't a square bottle.
Oh, it wasn't.
I don't care anymore. I don't care.
You know what I like? Water.
So I get some big bottle of water.
Some right now.
And I'm hanging out waiting for... I called an Uber. Just because I was hanging out. And so I was hanging out in front of this Quickie Mart that's right down the street from the Jiffy Lube. And I'm right next to this vape shop. And I'm just standing on the street corner. I've done that. I was that kid that hung out and just chilled by a street corner, just hanging out on the wall somewhere with somebody. But this very gangly lady with the hood up and everything in 95-degree weather, hood up, super thin. You can see the torn up tights and stuff. Comes darting out of the vape shop. Yeah, comes running around the corner. She trips over the corner a little bit. She manages to get it together and she gets back up and then she just drops and gets dope sick right in front of me. I know what dope sick is. I know what it looks like.
Yeah.
That was fucking dope sick, dude. And I just is this Uber get here already, dude? Is this that's Hazeldale. It's Sketch McGow's over there.
It's
real bad.
Kinda neat.
It's fun, but some of my favorite places in Vancouver are over there.
They're gross, right? They're cool and gross.
Yeah, one of my favorite bookstores is it's called Interstellar Overdrive, and basically it is a sci-fi.
Holla.
Yes, I love it. I love the store. I don't think the dude cares much for me, but I love your store, dude. And
hey, be nice to Lowell, dude. He likes your store.
I do like your store, and I come in there frequently and spend money. I spent $40 on used books. You know how many used books that gets you?
Be cool. Be cool to Lowell. I have no idea.
That's a lot. It's two Safeway bags full of them.
I'll read.
I read a lot. And
makes me sleep.
it shows.
No, I know it does. I'm a dummy. So what? So
I love the store.
So you love the store, dope sick lady. I'm with you.
Yeah, but it's some of my favorite places are there. My favorite bar is over there. It's the 99 Saloon.
Cool.
It's a cool, just divey bar. Reminds me of home a lot. Well, it's my second favorite bar in Vancouver. My favorite bar is Otto's.
All right, we were talking about...
Fuck your bar. Otto's.
Yeah. Otto's. Go to Otto's.
It's great. The service, mediocre. It's awesome. It's the perfect bar. I don't want service to be too good. I want them kind of jive one lady that some of the waitresses there are just pretty jovial and you just have a great time. Otto's.
It also I feel like it's one of the few bars where you could probably successfully hit on the bartenders.
Duh. Yeah, but you get out of line in Otto's, the entire bar will come down on your head.
Oh yeah, don't act like a pig.
I've seen very little bit of bad behavior in there, and one was my fault. But I've seen very little bits of bad behavior in there. It's actually really.
It's
really
a pretty chill spot, yeah.
Luckily, I was in the right, so they still let me in.
Yes.
Well, we took care of it pretty privately. We made sure it didn't happen in there, but nothing too nefarious. We just kind of dust up. We had a little bit of dust up. But yeah, that's once again this weird little we get it it's a microcosm here in Vancouver. Just kind of bringing it back around. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of home so much. Vancouver, it's weird. I don't know how I went from a place kind of like Vancouver, just in culture.
You like it here?
I do. I tried living in Portland, but I did not live in a good part of Portland. I lived in Gresham, which is not a good.
Damn.
No, not a good place.
Rockwood.
And it was just too much chaos for a little small town boy like me. So Vancouver's a happy medium where you get some of the small towniness of it, but you can go and do all the cool things that the city has to offer. Well, not right now, but
yeah, most of the
under
time.
normal circumstances, so you can go see a cool band played at a club date, which is the best way to see a band. Go check them out in a club or something if they're still doing clubs, because it's way better than a stadium. But you get to see there's still rednecks here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which are a prime target for toxic bad behavior. But once again, I really think it's a small percentage making the rest everybody look bad. You know what I mean? I think that's, you know, I don't know. My faith in humanity is not always on firm footing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always on firm footing. Like,
You're skeptical.
I'm a skeptic. I'm a natural skeptic. Like, had something really good happen, and you know, like a partner with one of my partners, and like we're having some really cool stuff go down, and he's super happy about it. But I'm like, what's the angle? You know, like that's my first thought. Because if a deal sounds too good to be true, I have found that it is that's probably because it is. You know, like if it seems that way, you know, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Called me a horse 3 times. I might as well just buy a saddle. You know what I mean? You know, like, so, like, you know, it. I think that's the thing, is there's a percentage of humanity, of any race or gender, that does something to make everyone else look bad. Imagine if you were aliens and you're like, I want to talk to this world, and you're like flying over it and you're just like seeing all the stuff that's happening. Would you want to come down and talk to us? Because I wouldn't. I'd be like, no, they ain't ready yet. Let's go.
No, I'm a firm believer that we're far more interested in them than they are in us.
Yeah.
Yeah, far more.
What do we have to offer as a species? I mean, like...
Dude, gold. I heard the theory. It might have been by David Icke. I don't know.
Maybe like L. Ron Hubbard.
I hope it was.
How's your accounting going? Isn't that what they call it? Like your accounting?
I don't know, you know.
We should look more into Scientology. We should do a Scientology episode. I'm writing that down.
I'm just pretty certain Scientology is just evil. I have no vested interest in Scientology or any other organized religion. I like off-the-grid religions. Those are cool.
No,
But,
Scientology is like pretty wacky, dude. It's like Engage with Zorp.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
But here's the thing. L. Ron Hubbard, though, accomplished quite a bit, man. He got a lot of followers, including Tom Cruise.
Most cult leaders do.
No, I'm not saying he wasn't a cult leader.
No, he's a total cult leader.
Do you think Scientologists like kill their members though? Like, don't most cults end in like a mass suicide?
It depends, man.
What was-
Some are busted up by the law, the law dogs.
What would you call what Charles Manson had going on? Was that like a gang or
No, that
a cult?
it was a violent cult.
Dude, that was nuts.
Most cults, I've noticed, you know, at least the ones that have really made the headlines, is, I only know the big name ones. I don't know. I'm not like deep into cults, but it always seems to end in violence, like some way or shape or form.
There's one in Oregon my mom and dad were telling me about. There was like some guy that made everybody dress in red robes. It doesn't matter. What were you saying?
I've heard of that. No, I've heard of that. I just can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, they saw it though.
But
Like,
let's
they
put a button in the toxic masculinity jam, and then we're just gonna babble for a while. So what we're saying, at least this is what I've gathered. The point that we have come, like the pinnacle of this conversation, is the idea that toxic masculinity
and toxic femininity
or whatever,
we can lump those
toxic
in together.
anonymity. I just made that word up. Anonymity. That's my trademark.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
Any hyphen. We're way off topic. So, all right.
No.
Back to what you were saying.
Okay. It's just toxic, bad behavior. As far as behavior is concerned, like we're not talking about indoctrination. We did talk about indoctrination a little bit. I don't think we buttoned that part of it up as well as we've buttoned up the maybe nature versus nurture, maybe part at least as we see it.
Mm-hmm.
But we never buttoned up the I just feel like there's another element to that maybe we can discuss some other time. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So we buttoned up part of it. This will probably continue because this is a pretty interesting topic, and maybe we can, now that we've kind of opened the doors to it, that we can continue. If you guys have any thoughts or anything, post them in the comments, because I actually do look at that stuff and I do respond. So
send your hate mail.
Send your suggestions too. We've had a couple of good ones.
Be my friend on Facebook and send me your hate mail direct. You can message me.
Hey, all I gotta say, dude, is I had to invite this guy to like the Kool-Aid Kids Facebook page. I had to invite him.
And I liked it, right?
I would certainly hope so. So, other than that, I mean, I think that's about all I have to say about that topic. So, how was your week, Rob?
Man, if my wife wasn't out with the Nazi party right now, it's driving you nuts that I'm saying that. Isn't
No,
it?
it's not actually.
Okay. Yeah. It was all right, man. It was okay. What about yourself?
Well, I feel like the strain of the dark air of doom that's kind of floating in the air right now. I'm definitely aware of it. Just living in the shadow of COVID-19. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like there's this, shutdown looming, and they're not really talking about it. When they don't talk about it, that's when I worry. Yeah, they're constantly talking about it. I'm not so worried about it. But if they shut up about it, it's like waiting. So I don't know what's coming. There's a little bit of uncertainty in the future. But I can see it's affecting everybody like equally, for good or for better or worse. I will tell you that this has actually, strangely enough, with all the stuff going on, I feel like my faith in humanity has been restored a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I see good people doing good things in a dark time. I seem to see that more now than I did just in the minutia of everyday life. There's more people, not, than there are, I would say, really showing true character. A lot of people, like during the shutdown, that were still working and stuff. I saw that as taking the risk. Because they didn't have to. Unemployment was paying very good. They did not have to be there, but they were there. And, I applaud them. That kind of restored my faith in humanity a little bit, to see these people, not doing not doing like great epic jobs, like just regular everyday jobs. Like working at the grocery store, like all the people, all like the firemen and like police and like medics and stuff that stayed on call, even though at great personal risk. That's...
You're welcome.
Yeah. It's just like, it's good stuff. So, I mean, I think that restored my faith in humanity a little bit. And now this mask thing is kind of taking it away. I mean, it's just like, I feel like it's ripping it away.
As in, you think the masks are good or bad, or like a little bit of both?
I think they're well advised at this point, but people are behaving about it. It's like they've almost got an excuse to yell at folks now. Now, if there's a sign posted on the building, this is the same with like firearms. So like, no firearms. You don't bring your gun in the store. You know what I mean? You got a sign that says you got to wear a mask to be in here because we have people that could be very vulnerable to this, and you have to wear a mask. If not, I work in a business like that where we have to deal with you outside. We'll bring stuff to you and we'll treat you as well as we can. You know what I mean? But like, you can't come in because there's people in here that are vulnerable, and you're not bringing that in here. Mm-hmm. We do go to great lengths to like sanitize stuff and not touch our faces, and try to wear a mask as much as we can. Sometimes we just social distance on the inside when no one's in there.
Dude, shout out to all the music store employees right now, because like, I can't live without music stores, man. I love music stores.
I just don't like how disposable my job is. Like, just as far as like when everything broke down, like I was just sitting around.
That is
my boss was super cool though. I will give a shout. I don't like to talk like make this cross the streams, but the gentleman that I worked for took care of us, so it was really good. So, but
thanks for doing that for my homie Lowell and all my homies where Lowell works.
Yeah, it was super cool. So but it's just this dark air of doom. It's affecting me, and it's starting to like, I feel like it's chipping away. Like, it's chipping away at me because it's like, we've been dealing with it for so long, and I kind of feel the weight of it now. You know what I mean? Like, it's piled on enough that I'm really starting to feel the weight of it.
I just feel like it's kind of going back to you talking about your job a little bit, like labeling music store employees as non-essential is complete bullshit though, because like it's such an essential to me. Like, it keeps me...
It's an essential to some, but it is not like, you do not, if you boiled it down to brass tacks, you don't need to give music gear to survive.
You don't.
You need food, you need like heat, and you need like medical attention. You need like products moving from place to place. You need to like have a supply chain still running.
I don't like sitting down for movies. I like documentaries. Like that's about the extent, but I can't sit down and watch like 3 documentaries, man. My interests like really all revolve around music in the long run, like I was telling you about this thing I'm gonna do later. It involves music, but it's like it keeps me so balanced though. Like to have that environment, it's so important to me and special to me to be able to go to where you work. I don't know if you want me to say so.
No, I looked across the stream.
Right. But going to Portland Music Company, or like where my friends work also, and like having that camaraderie and that environment, and like being able to talk to people like yourself about the new gear, it gives me like a place where I fit in, like that's not common for guys like you and I to go places and fit in right away, like
actually I do it a lot. To see for yourself, I actually found that
you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry, didn't mean to step on your toes, but
oh no, I never had that. I don't have that issue. Like
I don't, but
I'm very personable, like in public. Like I almost have like a persona, like this, that kind of the charisma thing that makes me wiggle through life. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I guess I don't really have a desire to fit in everywhere I go.
I don't either, but I just have I'm so boisterous and loud, and people just shut up and listen, I guess. I'm also pretty whimsical. Like I sing a lot, and I just make up songs all the time.
Yeah, like,
you guys get to see them on Sundays sometimes, but
like that kind of thing, like that's what, like part of the reason I love hanging out with you, man, is and like going where you work with all those people. Like I just love being there. I love being around it, man, and it reminds me of like when I was younger, before I broke all my teeth and I could play the saxophone. Like it's still nice to go look at a really nice woodwind instrument, even though I can't like play it anymore. Like it's near and dear to me. So.
If things go as planned, one of my goals, my retirement goals, is to open a boutique guitar store.
That'd be so rad.
Like,
can I come work for you?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be fun. But like a boutique guitar store that sells the highest end of stuff.
I would love it.
And just cool stuff too. Like there's I've been to a lot of really cool music shops. Actually, Portland has one. Old Town Music in Portland is an awesome shop.
Rad. Thunder Road Guitars, Centaur.
Yeah, Centaur Guitars is really cool too. God. There's some really cool music shops.
Yeah.
Like weird boutique music shops, like not like chains or like corporate style ones, like the real deal, like guitar stores. They're guitar stores essentially.
Yeah.
But like some real boss ones in this area.
Oh my god! And
I used to work at like a small town music store when I was a kid, and I grew up in a music store, so like I know, like I just fit in. Like I walk into a music store, I'm instantly in. They like guys spot me at the door, like they do like this dude knows what's up. Just roll in, I'm like, what's up? I just love it. I just start rattling around the store.
Stores. See, it's essential, man. Look how you're talking.
For a musician, I get it. I got it. I was cool. I stayed home. I did my thing. We actually started most of this during that time.
Yeah.
We got everything together, all the ideas, and, started just pumping stuff out to try and get attention.
We're going to have a few more fun things coming up for the cool people watching, too.
So, before I forget, we should try this thing that you wanted me to try on camera.
Yeah, man. So, I got you. Do you want to tell them?
He got me hooked on kombucha, and then I subsequently, my wife drank my kombucha, and then...
Now she's hooked too, right?
Now she's hooked too. So
yeah.
But tell me what is this?
That's kombucha I made at home, man. It
looked like dirty pee. You need to drink more water.
Well, don't tell me what to do. But that might, be careful now. You're not supposed to shake it. That's a live SCOBY in there.
I like the live SCOBY.
Yeah,
I
cool.
drinks it.
So this is a little stronger than the stuff you're gonna get at the Fred Meyer and stuff. But
All right, so this is like home brew.
I would love to teach you.
Oh yeah.
You and the missus about making kombucha, and maybe we
It's
can
just tastes like kombucha.
make a video doing it, dude.
Mm. Yeah, I can drink that. In fact, I'm just gonna take that right and put it back.
Yeah, take it home.
It's mine now.
Take it home. I'll trade you that empty bottle after you finish it that
Yeah,
one.
I'm gonna finish it first.
Yeah, dude. I'll
Yeah.
trade you.
So, have you listened to anything cool this week? Because I have been in an oldie but goodie kind of mood, so I really haven't like even touched.
I've been listening to. Did I shout out Alborosie yet? Okay, Fire and Flame, Fire and Freedom. It's a pretty sweet reggae artist. He's Italian, and he moved to Jamaica. He was so drawn by the culture, by the Rasta culture, that he moved to Jamaica.
What's his name?
Alborosie.
Alborosie.
Yeah.
Drinks a lot, even for an Italian.
I see what you did there. That was cute.
Continue.
All right. So he moved to Jamaica and immersed himself in the culture and became a real Rasta man. And he makes really rad music. It's a little harder driving than most reggae, which I really like because I really like a lot of old school punk rock. Much like yourself, I really like Black Flag and the Misfits and the Sex Pistols, and the Clash isn't really that hard, but they were awesome.
But thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week with some.
We should be telling them you're welcome. Like, they should be thanking us.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You're welcome,
You're
ladies
welcome,
and gentlemen.
losers. I helped you rot your brain in a better way today.
I'm Lowell-George.
I'm Rob McNeil.
And we're the Kool-Aid kids, and this was Drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, drink the Kool-Aid, man.